What's going on, everybody? Jacob here, JK Productions, and obviously we're here to talk about some Lamar Jackson. I am somebody, before I even get into this at all, I just want to say I am a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I am a Miami Dolphins fan first, yes, but second, my second favorite team is the Baltimore Ravens, and some people say that's sacrilegious. You can't have two favorite teams. I say there are no rules. But Lamar Jackson, I love him as a player. He's so fun to watch. He's won so many games, won an MVP already, gotten the Ravens into the playoffs, won a playoff game. But now the conversation is justly to be had. What is he worth? And we are seeing now with Lamar Jackson, and not a lot of teams coming out early on saying they're not willing to pay Lamar Jackson what basically he wants, or not even going to pursue him at all. Teams like the Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons that are desperate for quarterbacks, the Washington Commanders, the Miami Dolphins, all have come out and said that they don't want to pursue Lamar Jackson. And naturally, that's going to stir up a pretty big reaction from NFL fans, NFL players. We've seen Tyrann Mathieu, RG3 come out and say this is ludicrous. This is ridiculous that Lamar Jackson isn't getting the attention, isn't getting the desire from the rest of the league that he's worth. He's an MVP. He's done so many great things. He's got this incredible athletic ability. He wins games. And all this is true. Lamar Jackson is an incredibly athletic player, incredibly dynamic quarterback that we really have barely seen throughout NFL history. Not quite the thrower that Mike Vick was, not quite as strong and powerful as RG3 was, but he's very elusive. His throwing ability's gotten a lot better as career has gone on. And now it's time to get paid. And justly, he wants and deserves to get paid. The amount, though, is definitely what teams are kind of held up about, and we've seen what he's turned down from the Baltimore Ravens. We've seen him turn down $50+ million contracts because he really wants that fully guaranteed deal. Deshaun Watson, no other way to say it, he really screwed over the quarterback market by getting a fully guaranteed contract with all the things he's had looming over his head. Him getting a fully guaranteed contract has really made it harder for other teams to then go and negotiate with their quarterbacks. So what is the biggest issue with Lamar Jackson? And that's definitely been his availability of recent. You look over the last two seasons, 2021, 2022, 5 missed games. This last season, 5 missed games. That's 10 years in just 2 seasons. And most notably, at the end of the season, when he has that mileage on him, when you think, yeah, that's when the injuries might stack up, they have been stacking up. He's missed the last few games of the season, back-to-back seasons, 15 through 18. He's missed all 4 games, both back-to-back years. And it makes sense that teams are a little questionable as to whether they want to give somebody a long-term, fully guaranteed contract to a quarterback that in the most important parts of the season, he's not going to be involved. Those 5 games in each season, that's just regular season. That doesn't count the playoff game this year. So 6 games this year, matter of fact. And Ravens nearly did the job there in Cincinnati and overcame the Bengals. And another quarterback that a lot of people have a lot of question marks over because of their durability, as well as some other parts of their game, is Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, over the last couple seasons, we've seen him get a concussion. We've seen him with a broken rib. We've seen with different issues. Arguably three different concussions this last season. But you look over the last 2 seasons, he's only missed 8 games. He's missed less games than Lamar Jackson. And if you think injury-prone quarterback, you're going to think Tua. That's the most synonymous quarterback to the term injury-ridden quarterback. And then Lamar Jackson now started to get a little bit of reputation himself. He's missed, again, weeks 15 through 18, back-to-back seasons. He missed the playoff game in Cincinnati this year. And he wants a fully guaranteed contract. You look at the top 5 highest paid contracts of quarterbacks going into next year. You have Aaron Rodgers. You now have Daniel Jones, which you can roll your eye at, but there's Daniel Jones, there's Deshaun Watson, there's Patrick Mahomes, and Kyler Murray. 4 out of those top 5 guys don't get hurt. Kyler Murray aside, all 4 of those guys are on the field as long as they don't touch anybody. Aaron Rodgers, the headache that he's reliable. He hasn't got hurt in years. Patrick Mahomes has been able to fight through injuries, play through a high ankle sprain last year, going all the way to the Super Bowl and winning it. Daniel Jones, big body, athletic, hasn't really sustained much injuries in his NFL career. Deshaun Watson, again, if he could just stay on the field for other reasons, he hasn't had many injury issues since early on in his career when he tore his ACL. Those are 4 guys that all can stay on the field and all can provide for their teams to one extent or the other. Lamar Jackson, incredibly talented player. One of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in terms of his athletic ability. The fact that he's now gotten better at throwing in the pocket. Again, he's just continuing to grow as a quarterback, and he deserves to get paid, and he will get paid by somebody eventually. But if you're not available for your team, that's a pretty big concern. When you're going into the playoffs with your backup quarterback, that's a pretty big concern. And then you want to pay this guy $55 million fully guaranteed? I'm sorry, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are claiming it's collusion, and I can't entirely say that it's not collusion. There is definitely a possibility that everyone's like, hey, look, we already let Deshaun Watson reset the quarterback market. We are not letting a guy who misses the better part of the second half of the season, back-to-back seasons, get a $55 million fully guaranteed contract. What is Joe Burrow going to ask for? What is Justin Herbert going to ask for? I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there's a pretty good, there's a decent possibility that this is true. But let's assume it's not. It makes sense that these teams don't want to wage their future on a guy that, one wrong hit, one shift the wrong direction, a non-contact injury, and now you're without him. We've seen a lot of these smaller injuries start to stack up. We haven't seen the big ones yet. We haven't seen an Achilles. We haven't seen an ACL. We haven't seen a meniscus. We've seen sprains. We've seen little issues here and there, but we haven't seen one of those big tears yet. And guys that are quote unquote too athletic for their own good eventually starts to catch up to them. We've seen it in the NBA with Russell Westbrook. We've seen it with John Wall. Might eventually see it with John Morant, Derrick Rose. We've seen it in the NBA with these guys that are undersized but are so bouncy and so athletic, so quick twitch, and eventually catches up to them and their body starts to deteriorate. This is the first time we've seen an NFL edition of this, basically. We had never seen a guy who, Lamar Jackson's not short by any means, but he's not tall. He's pretty skinny. He's pretty light, but he's so explosive. Not explosive, but he's so quick twitch. He can change directions on a dime. We haven't seen this before. And through a few seasons into his career now, we've seen the injuries stack up. When you go into the most important part of the season, do you want to try to rely on a quarterback who you don't even know is going to be on the field? And then do you want to have him eat up a great majority of your salary cap? I understand these teams being hesitant. I like Lamar Jackson. I have a Lamar Jackson jersey in there somewhere. You can't really see it. I think that's a Dolphins jersey right there. And I think that's a Panthers hockey jersey. Where is it? I think it's a Panthers hockey jersey right there. But you go further in that closet, I have a Lamar Jackson jersey. You go this direction, I have a Baltimore Ravens hat. I like the Ravens. I like Lamar Jackson. And I was sitting at a restaurant with my friend Donovan when the news broke that they're placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson. And I sighed because first of all, it's not my money. So if they pay him, it's not my money. But I sighed. I'm like, crap, he's going to the Falcons. That was just my first assumption. I was like, man, he's going to Atlanta. Then Atlanta doesn't want him. Then Carolina doesn't want him. Then Washington doesn't want him. Then Miami doesn't want him. Then who wants him? If nobody else offers him anything, he's coming back to the Ravens on a one-year deal for $32 million. I like to think that I've held and maintained throughout this entire process that I think they will eventually get a long-term deal done. I don't think it's going to be the amount of money that he wants. And quite frankly, I understand. If you have a guy, you don't know how often he's going to be out there. You can't pay him top dollar. You can't have him be the most paid quarterback in the league when he's not the most played quarterback in the league. What do you think? Does Lamar Jackson deserve the money? Are these teams ridiculous for passing up on him? Or do you understand? Do you understand that availability is the best ability a quarterback, a player in any sport can have? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody.